Fellas, we need to talk about everything. We ain't gonna stop because they think they own the press. No, they don't. We have brains, so we need to think for ourselves. We're not going to listen to propaganda from the West. We are not listening to propaganda from the Russians. We are going to listen to both of them. No, we're not going to listen. Are we going to listen or not? Okay, we're going to listen, then we're going to pull our own conclusion. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for choosing us again. It's your first time, please join us. Subscribe. Let's make this bigger. You don't know me. I don't know you. My name is Zack. Surely, if you watch this video, we're going to love each other. Okay, so this is us. This is family. This is Africa. We bring the diaspora together. We want to have our line of thoughts and make this much bigger. Fellas, let's make this bigger. Okay, like white people do with Joe Rogan and stuff. Can we not just create something big for us? I'm speaking like this by myself, but if we 200,000, we're going to start podcasting every single day. And that's going to be beautiful. Okay, so we're talking about Russia today. So we need to understand from our perspective, not nobody else's perspective. What's happening? What's happening is that Russia's top general calls US military chief in a highly unusual move amid escalation fear. So a Russian general called an American general to clarify their moves. Why? Because everybody's trying to avoid unnecessary escalation. So a few hours ago, a Russian general called the top US general for the very first time in a long time, okay, discussing, listen, this is what we're about to do. The Russians are about to do some training in the Mediterranean, shooting some of the missiles and stuff like that, so they don't want any miscalculation. Russia's use of its hypersonic missile on Ukraine last week increased fears of an escalation in hostilities. The firing of Oshnik missile was presented by Vladimir Putin as a direct response to the United States and the UK allowing the use of missiles they have supplied to hit inside Russia. United States of America and NATO for the longest time gave weapons to Ukraine, long-range missiles, but did not allow them to shoot inside Russia. Very recently, when Joe Biden realized that he lost elections, or Kamala Harris, Joe Biden then decided to say, you know what, Kiev, you can now shoot inside Russia. And they shot a few times. Then Putin replied by not shooting a nuclear weapon like everybody expected him to do. He confused everybody by shooting a long-range, very fast missile, Orychnik, that nobody saw coming and nobody knew was created. That's how smart this man. I'm sorry, but he's a chess player. Now, since then, Ukraine has not shot again. Instead of finishing Ukraine by throwing an atomic bomb, Russia chose not to do that, but to shoot a very fast missile. That missile is impossible to stop. So whichever target it is, it's going to hit. No defense system in the world is ready to protect the people against that missile. So this phone call was important for both parties to try appease the tension between the United States of America and Russia right now. In a highly unusual move, a Russian general called Joe Biden's top military advisor and talked about how to manage escalation concern between the two countries. Okay, so Russia and Belarus. This is Russia here on the map, and this is Belarus. And Belarus is the biggest friend of Russia. It's one of those loyal friends. Like, it doesn't matter. If they're going to kill us, they're going to kill all of us together. Yes, that's indeed what it is. They've signed a treaty. It's official now. So if anybody dares to touch either of them, the other one is getting into war. The close allies have signed a treaty of security guaranteed while Vladimir Putin is making a trip to Belarus. Putin said the new documents include the potential use of Russian tactical nuclear weapons deployed in Belarus in response to aggression.
Обязательства по обеспечению обороны, защиту суверенитета, независимости и конституционного строя России и Беларуси, целостности и неприкосновенности территорий и внешней границы союзного государства, причем с задействованием всех имеющихся сил и средств. Речь в том числе идет и о российском тактическом ядерном оружии, расположенном по предложению президента Беларуси на территории Белорусской Республики.
So, Russia's got its nuclear weapons already stationed in Belarus. In case you hit Russia and destroy Russia, Belarus will hit you back with Russian nuclear weapons. That president is a good friend of Putin. So last month, Russia updated its nuclear doctrine for the very first time, placing Belarus under the Russian nuclear umbrella.
Поскольку мы сегодня подписали договор о гарантиях безопасности с применением всех имеющихся сил и средств, то считаю размещение таких комплексов, как Орешник, на территории Республики Беларусь возможным. Это станет возможным, думаю, во второй половине следующего года. По мере наращивания выпуска таких комплексов, серийного выпуска этих комплексов в России и по мере поступления этих ракетных систем на вооружение российских войск стратегического назначения.
So to say, if you dare to touch Belarus, because Belarus doesn't like what's happening in Europe, okay, they don't accept men and other men doing that thing. Yeah, they have different policies. They're very much like Russians. So if you touch my little brother, I'm going to blow you up.
Не допустить нарушения территориальной целостности Беларуси и России, сохранить суверенитет, независимость, а главное сформировать гарантии мирной жизни для наших граждан.
And the Russian nuclear doctrine was initially that if Russia is hit by any other country with a nuclear power, they can hit that nuclear power with a nuclear power. They've changed that doctrine into saying if Russia is hit by anybody with any missile, they have the right to hit them back with nuclear power.
We have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries that allow their weapons to be used against our sites. And if there is an escalation of aggressive actions, we will respond just as decisively and symmetrically. I recommend ruling elites of countries hatching plans to use their military forces against Russia to think seriously about this.
So for the very first time, fellas, this is insane. The first round of Romanian presidential election last month was seen as being significant in the war of Ukraine. Despite opinions that put him in a single debate, Kalin Grogekus, yeah, that's a name, Kalin Grogekus, who wants to end Ukrainian support for Ukraine against Russia's invasion, finished first place. So this guy, Kalin Grogekus, finished first place, but he wants to end the support of Romanians to Ukrainians. Now, guess what happened? The High Court cancelled the result of the election. It's crazy. The Romanian top court annulled the result of the first round today, ruling that the entire election process was not good. It has to be redone.
I say this for the EU. Romania is and remains a safe, solid and a pro-European country. I say this for NATO. Romania remains a strong and reliable ally.
So if you give Russia the support, you don't support Ukraine, they're going to do everything they can so you can fall. Just imagine somebody going through elections, wins the election the first time. They say, no, we're not going to do this because you support Russia. You don't want us to support Ukraine.
Today, the Romanian state has taken democracy and trampled it. Today's constitutional court decision is more than a legal controversy. It is basically a formalized coup d'etat. The rule of law is in an induced coma, and justice, which is subordinated to political orders, has practically lost its essence.
Yes, fellas, war is not just weapons. This is an information from the Ukraine military intelligence. They said they carried out a successful cyber attack in Russia's most biggest bank this week. The attack reportedly disrupted the bank's online and mobile banking services, while its website was said to be rendered inaccessible in France and Germany. So, yeah, hackers are part of the army in the developed countries. It's not a joke. Unfortunately, I don't know what Africans are thinking. You know, they don't invest into people's brains. It's just pockets and the pants and the bums. You know, if you have the big bums, you're a woman, then you're rich because all the men want you. It's crazy. This is all across Africa. Like, why do African men like big bums? I don't get that. Why do you like big bums? Well, what's inside those big bums? No. Let's change subject. Yeah. Why do you like big bums? What is inside the bum? No, tell me what comes out. Like, what is it? Why do you go crazy when you see bums? I don't get that. Why can't white people like bums too? They don't care about bums. Why do you care so much about bums? I don't get that. You'll never see a woman in government who's doing great who has no bums. They have bums, all of them. It's crazy. In quick recap, a top Russian general contacted a top American general to let them know they're going to be exercising somewhere in the Mediterranean. They're going to be shooting. Why? Because they can. It's international waters. This is exactly what America does everywhere else. Next to North Korea, next to Russia, next to Syria, next to every other country that they don't necessarily like or cooperate with. Number two, Russia and Belarus has signed a treaty saying if you bomb Belarus, we bombing you. If you bomb Russia, Belarus is going to bomb you using Russian nuclear power. And that is insane. In Romania, a man named Kalin Grogekus, I killed his name right there, won the first part of the election, but the election was cancelled by the High Court because they believe Grogekus does not support Ukraine. That is insane, isn't it? And then the Ukrainian hackers have successfully hit a major bank in Russia. Well, I hope they pull some money to transfer somewhere in Africa. Then we can change the report here on the microphone. Let me know how you feel about it. I'm just joking. Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.